Hello to all my wonderful constituents out in Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District. It's my favorite time of the week, local heroes, when we get to recognize the people who are making the sacrifices and the commitments that have gotten us through the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic and make life here not just decent, but really wonderful in lots of ways. So today's local hero is someone who works in the health profession. His name is Tait. And he's a respiratory therapist of 17 years, having spent the last 16 of them at Suburban Hospital in the heart of Montgomery County. So I have drafted and introduced a resolution honoring the respiratory therapists for the extraordinary work they've done across the country for us. And I wanted to take this opportunity to honor a local respiratory therapist for doing heroic work through COVID-19. So please welcome Tait. And Brian, congratulations to you on being our local hero.
Thank you.
Tell us about the work of respiratory therapists, kind of the range of things you're involved in, and then why you guys have been so essential to the effort to combat COVID-19 and to save people's lives.
Well, mainly we do medications for COPD, asthmatics, people with pneumonia. But since this COVID outbreak, we've been getting a lot of ventilated patients, and we do monitor and control the ventilators in the ICU. We wean and we extubate patients to nasal cannulas as soon as the physician gives us the okay. We work very well with the nursing staff and the physicians. It's just a great place to work. It really is. I love it.
So are you exclusively an ICU respiratory therapist, or do you range broadly across the hospital?
Occasionally I range broadly, but mainly, yes, I'm in the ICU. I'd say 95% of the time I'm in the intensive care unit.
Yeah. In terms of vaccinated versus unvaccinated, there was a lot of reporting at the beginning of this most recent surge, which thankfully has started to subside, that the people who had been vaccinated were surviving a breakthrough infection much better than people who had never been vaccinated. Is that true to your experience?
Yes, sir. That's quite correct. We've had a few vaccinated patients in the intensive care unit, but they never went on the ventilator. They never went past a nasal cannula, which is a real small bit of oxygen. And they do great. In a couple of days, they're gone. And then the ones that don't get the vaccine typically get ventilated, and they don't do very well.
So I take it you're a pretty avid supporter of vaccination wherever you go.
Yes, I am. I am a supporter of the vaccination. Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about the work of respiratory therapists outside of the hospital. I mean, are there people who've just been working on an emergency basis too?
Yes, sure. We have some of those. Mainly the ones that the therapists that typically work out of the hospital they're in the home care. So they'll take care of patients that are homeward bound and that are on ventilators or even CPAP machines. And they go in and they monitor the patients, they take care of the patients, and they make adjustments to the ventilators, clean them and stuff like that.
Yeah. Had you worked with ventilators before COVID-19?
Yes.
But this was the most intensive period of using them?
Yes. Very intense.
And how would you describe the experience of people on the ventilators? I mean, it must be very difficult, right?
It's very sad. It's a very emotional time, especially if the patient doesn't make it. Since family can't be in the room, we take over for the family, and it's very emotional.
So your responsibilities have not just been in the physical medicine part, but also really on the emotional and psychological as well.
Yes, sir.
Because that must be a very traumatic thing to pass over there. Well, look, but I was really thrilled to be able to introduce this resolution honoring the respiratory therapists, because you guys have been unsung heroes of the struggle to get us out of this nightmare with COVID-19. And we want to thank you for the late nights and the all-nighters, and just thank you for being there to take care of people's family members. And we literally could not have gotten through this without the respiratory therapist. So we salute you, and you are our local hero this week, Brian.
Thank you so much.
Please send best to all our friends at Suburban.
Will do.